Cool. So my name is Stephanie. A couple of you guys may um, recognize me from Rocketspark. So I'm a part of the customer success team. So yeah, on the front end, always going and answering any of the questions that come through. So yeah, you'll come to know me if you haven't already. I know a lot of you guys here are also partners, so that's always great to see. Today I'm going to be talking about how to optimize your website for mobile. So this is really important. A lot of people, when they go through and make their website, a lot of things that they do is, because you go and set your website up on the desktop version and you go and look at it, make it look perfect and pristine, just how you want it. But then you go and look at the mobile version and it might look a little bit different. So just finding ways here in how you can go and optimize this for mobile. So there are quite a few different areas that we can go and change. So that's always great to see. I can see that there's a couple people in here already, which is nice. Cool, yeah, it's quite a few of you coming through now, which is also always nice, and a couple of our design partners as well. So good to see you all. I'll just wait a little bit longer, just so we can get a couple more people coming through in case there's some latecomers. We've also got Chantel. She's going to be just in the back end, and if you have any questions throughout this webinar, just go and fire them through and she'll be able to answer any questions, or we can answer them at the end in a bit of a Q&A. So yeah, we'll wait a little bit longer. And yeah, so there's a couple of different areas that we're going to be going through, which is pretty cool, which is your mobile menu, your font text and size, your button text, width and spacing for your mobile, and grid gallery as well. So there's a couple of different areas in there, but it shouldn't take too long to go through. Cool, so I will just go and bring you through as well. I've just made a quick draft site just so we can have a quick look at it and see what's going on here. Cool, so this is the one that we're going to be working on today. Yeah, this is just stock standard. This is just a brand new draft site that's been created. So yeah, everything is stock standard in this so far that we've got. Yeah, got a about, and yeah, we can always go and change through those templates if you're wanting to, if this is your first time setting it up. Cool, so I'm just going to go ahead and start now. So starting with this area up top. So what we can do is we can go and change across to the mobile version, which we'll find here. And so you can see up top, so you've got your logo. This is just the stock standard one that we've got. These 3 lines here is your menu. So if we click on it, it'll go and break down into your menu here with all your different pages. And you've also got your call button. So that'll all be connected to your mobile number that you've got, or your landline number that you've got attached here. If you've got a shop set up as well, or a blog, these items will also show up. So you'll get a little cart icon here, and you'll also get a blog icon. So we can go and change these. So the main thing that we can change here is the color of these icons. And also we have the option to go and add a box behind it as well, just in case you wanted to go and have something that stands out a little bit more. So to go ahead and change this one, what we'll do is we'll go across to the desktop again and go to change design. So these are your site-wide design settings. So here we've got your logo and menu. And if we go across to the mobile version here, that's where you'll be able to turn this on. So what we can do here is go and change the icon color. So I'll change it to red just for now, just so you can see the difference. And it also matches this red here on the horse. So we can display a box behind this menu as well, and I'll just go and change it to something quite different as well, just so that you can get the feel of it. So now that we've changed that one, we'll just want to save our changes and check out what this looks like on your mobile. Cool, so now you can see that this is actually changed to red, and we've got a white box behind this as well. So that really does make it stand out. But yeah, it does go and stand out quite a bit from that, but it might be just a little bit different than what you're really wanting. So I'll just go and change that back to how it was, which was in the mobile here, black, and just with white writing as well. So yeah, that looks quite nice and elegant, and easy to see as well. So you can see how that all works. The next area that we'd be looking at is just here. So we've got the text. So this is, you can go and change your font size and your text size. So there's a couple options that we have here. First, we've got the change design option, where you can go through to headings and paragraphs and change the design for site-wide, so how this will be looking. So at the moment, we'll just have a quick look and see how this looks on mobile. So you've got this area here, love your new home, and just a little bit of text here. So that's what it looks like at the moment. And if we go through and change this, change to mobile, we can change the font size. So that was a big heading. You can see that it pops up with a blue area around where you're going to be editing. So if we go and change this across to something such as, just so you can see a significant difference, I'll go to 25 for that. And the other text that we had here was the paragraph. So if we go and change that down to, say 10, this will be quite small, but we can just go and see that difference. So if we go and save the changes, and we go across to check this out on your mobile viewing, we'll scroll down and you can see that that's quite different. It's much smaller, a bit hard to read as well. So definitely how it was to start with was a lot better, especially for mobile optimization. So we can always go and change that back, but we do have another option here. So if you're not wanting to change the site-wide settings for this, you don't have to. You can just go and change your stack specific. So this is really handy, especially if you're wanting to have something a little bit different. Maybe you want to have different colored fonts to make a certain stack stand out. So go to your edit design for that stack. And we'd go to headings and paragraphs. So here, if we go and change across to mobile, you'll actually be able to see just a preview of how this is going to look. So that's one of the beauties of being able to have that stack-specific design option. You can see how this will look in real time. So again, that was that big heading that we had. And if we wanted to change this across just to make it a bit bigger again, maybe 35, that fits in there quite nicely. And also that paragraph, so that's quite hard to read at the moment. Changing that up to maybe 18. Yeah, you can see that how that is. You can also go and change the color of your font here as well, which is quite good. Yeah, just so you can have a look at it. And if you want just something a little bit special for that stack to make it stand out, maybe if it's a call to action, yeah, that's how you could do it. So with this as well, if you go and change the stack specific options here, if you want to go and change it back so then they're all in line with the rest of your site-wide settings, you can go and just click this button here to reset the font settings to defaults. Cool. So in this area as well, you can actually see that there's a button here. So we can go and change the size of our buttons. If we go to change design, buttons, and just swap across to mobile, you'll be able to change the size of the font. So you can go and change that up or down how you want. But you'll need to just go back and check once you've saved those changes. Go back to the mobile version and see how that looks. Alternatively, you can still stick to these stack-specific options where you can go and change the buttons. Here you'll be able to have a little bit more design control. So you'll be able to change the border color. So you can go and change that to something a little bit more funky. I'm going to change that across to red for now. You can change the button size font. the font color, and also the mobile background color. So I'm just going to go ahead and save those changes here, and we can see how that looks. So you can see this faint red line around the outside of this now, so that's what I've been able to add in. Cool. Yeah, and anytime along this webinar as well, if you just want to pop in a question, if you've got any, just let us know, and yeah, we'll be happy to answer these at the end. One of the next areas that we're going to be moving into is probably one of the areas that people have the most trouble. So this is going to be your width and spacing. So with width and spacing, you're going to need to do this in the stack-specific design settings. And if you go across to width and spacing, you can go across to mobile, where it's going to bring up that preview. So at the moment, what we can do here is I'll just go through the internal column spacing and the stack spacing first. So we can go and change the left and right, just to depend on how much space you want around the edges of this text. The top and bottom, so this one is for the internal, so this will be between where it says love your new home and the text as well here. So you'll be able to see this change around. And finally as well, you're going to be able to have the stack spacing. So this is going to be the top and bottom. So just above here and here, between your next stacks. So yeah, we can go and increase or decrease that. Or if you're wanting something a little bit special, you can have more design options here. So your external spacing at the top, and at the bottom, and the internal spacing as well. So you'll see the internal and external differences quite a bit more if you've got color in there, especially around that stack and column. Cool. So we've also got these options here, which is column wrapping and reverse order, column order on mobile. So there's a couple of different areas here where this is going to come in handy. Our first one that we've got here is changing from one column stack to a 2-column stack. So I've got an example set up here in our about area. So I've just gone and copied this over and reversed it, just so that you can see. If we go and look at the mobile version of this currently, you'll see that you've got your business story, your button, your image, and then your image again, just because of how this stacks up. Just automatically. But what we can do here is we can go and change this up a little bit. So what you'll want to do here is, so this is how we're wanting it to start with. And if we go and get our second one as well, and we go to the edit design, go back to this width and spacing, go across to mobile, and just reverse the column order on mobile. So that's going to change it up a little bit. This way, it makes it a lot easier to flow through these pages. You're going to see your business story, your button, and then your image, and then this is going to repeat on the next one. Just because the other way around, it just didn't quite look right, just having that image sandwiched like that. So definitely looks a lot better here, having that reverse column order, especially if you're going to be having more of these. So maybe you have, say, there's only 2 blocks here, stacks here at the moment. So if we go and add maybe 2 more there, if you had 4 in a row, this is going to look quite messy quite quickly. And then the other one that we had here was also, if we go across to testimonials, I've gone and changed this up. So you can have either a 1-column stack or a 2-column stack. So an example of this is, at the moment, when we're looking through this, you can see your image and then your text here. Image and then text. So if we go across and we go to edit this stack, we can edit the design here, go to width and spacing, and change this over to be 2 columns on mobile. This way, this can be quite powerful if you're wanting to have your image and then your text next to it, so then it makes a little bit more sense. We can also go back and change the headings and paragraphs for this little area if we've changed it, and your width and spacing still. So you may want to make this a little bit closer to each other or a bit further away, just depending on what you're needing here. Cool. So that is your stack specific spacing, especially for width and spacing, just to go and make it optimized for your mobile. But yeah, sometimes you're definitely going to want to add a bit more area to those stacks just to create a focal point and people to go and be drawn into, which is why it's quite good to have these images next to this text. There's one other area as well that you can go and edit with your mobile spacing, or your mobile optimization. So this will be for your grid gallery. So I've just created a 3-column grid gallery here, just using the autofill images as well. So if we go across to mobile, you'll be able to see how this looks at the moment. So this automatically turns up as a 2-column. Definitely having a grid gallery in there is the best way to be able to display images, especially when you have a lot of them, just because you can go and increase this anywhere up to 10. So we don't have 10 images there, but yeah, you can go and increase that one. As many as you need there, really, depending on how big you want those images and how they're going to look on your website. With your grid gallery as well, you can go and add text. So if we go and add in text here, text, test, and save that one on mobile, if we make just a little bit bigger. So yeah, that might be the size that you're wanting, but we can go and change that one to be smaller or bigger as you need it. Cool, so that's your mobile spacing. You can also go and add in that secondary text there, just depending on what you're wanting. But yeah, these are the basics of going and setting up your mobile optimization, especially when you're setting this up for the first time. If you haven't looked at your mobile optimization, it's always nice to have a little look through and see how it flows on mobile. So there's a little bit of work that needs to be done on this one, but yeah, definitely getting the gist of how that works. Just bring this back over to the main area here and stop sharing that one. Cool. So that's how you go and optimize your website for mobile. If there's any questions here, please just let us know. It's always good to get those questions through. And if you're unsure about anything as well, just let us know. We've always got little workarounds that we can do. One of the areas in there as well is that your logo on your mobile as well. Sometimes it can be a little bit bigger than usual. So what we can do here, if you go and request into support@rocketspark.com, or just get in touch with us, we'll be able to change this across. So this can go and make your logo a little bit smaller on mobile, just because we'll need to do that in the back end. But yeah, if you've check the chat here, I can see that Chantel has actually put through a whole lot of help guides there. So these are our help guides on how to optimize your mobile, your website for mobile. So always take a look at those if you need. They've got really helpful walkthroughs, step by step on how to do this. And yeah, a couple other tips and tricks that you can go through. But yeah, that's it for now. If you have any questions, yeah, please just go and let us know at support@Rocketspark. Jason has sent through a special little notice to say that, especially for the partners, just to come along to launch, just because we'll be having a couple more workshops on this and a little bit more in depth as well. Yeah, but definitely going to be a good time, and we hope to see you all there. Cool. Thanks.